Okay, good afternoon and good evening, everyone, or maybe good morning to some of you, depending on where you're watching on the planet Earth. Welcome to this Q&A with the Kayo Mission Development Team. So, we have Julie from Cameroon. We have George joining us from England. We have Mario from Germany. We have Gwen joining us from England and myself from Germany as well. So, as you can see, we are very diverse and we are coming from different parts of the world, but together as a big or small team, but with big ambitions. And we made the Kayo mission, an indie game, an exploration game that will come out very soon in January. So we have some questions to answer, but feel also free to write your questions in the chat and we will be happy to answer them.
So the first question is, what inspired you to create the Kaio mission, and what is its core concept?
So some time ago, a few years ago, I worked on a space exploration project that was quite early in the pre-concept phase. And at some point when COVID started, I worked also with Gwen, our lead game designer, together to do some visualizations for that research project for certain presentations. And then the project was cancelled due to lack of cash. And however, we decided then to continue working on this, but to make it into a game. So we started working on this, and also during COVID, um, I was convinced at home that I should write a science fiction novel to be mentally healthy during the lockdown in England. And I had never done anything like this, but I tried it, and it was really, really good fun. And most importantly, it kept me sane during the lockdown. And basically, the game became based on the science fiction novel. And the starting point was the research work for the space exploration project.
Amazing.
It's quite an adventure actually from
Yeah.
writing, from research, writing, and developing a game. And I must say, we are a small team and it just took us 4 years to complete the game. So I think it's not too bad for just
Mm.
one developer and one 3D developer, and yeah, obviously other people working behind the scenes.
Mm. So the next question is, what genre is the Kaio mission, and how does it stand out in the current market?
The Kaya mission, it's a family-friendly side scroller with a huge focus on exploration and photography. Largely relaxing experience with barely any violence to be found, only vistas and alien life forms and mini games as well.
I just wanted to add it's a game for everyone as well. Uh,
Mm.
our youngest tester was 8, so he needed a bit of support with the reading and so on, but he could easily play it. And obviously, you can play it um, even if you're older, there's no age limit. So it's for everyone who likes this kind of game.
So,
Yeah.
what are Explore Studios' kind of long-term goals?
I think as for studios, goals are to first add more ideas on developing more games and also explore the fact of marketing so that everyone could like the game to understand our creativity and what we are we are about to do. And it's like I'm not pointing any kind of other games. It's just like we can show up what is our minds and that we can see other aspects of playing a game, being having fun and exploring also different elements of the society.
I think that is really well said, Julie. Yeah, we have obviously the Kaio mission that is going to be out very soon in January, the 29th of January on Steam and Epic and itch.io. But we also have started working on developing 2 other games. I don't want to reveal too much about them. So if you're interested, you can just look at our website, explorestudiogames.com, where you will have more information about these games. But yeah, little by little, we will reveal more about these games.
Yeah, and how do you handle marketing and getting the word out about the Kaio mission and Explore Studio, especially on a more limited budget?
Yeah, so we have a very limited budget. We're obviously just a small indie game, and we have no support from anyone apart just from us, basically. We are self-funded. Like I said, no support. So the marketing is like everyone is so doing his best. So Julie, myself, and George, we are working on marketing different aspects. So we are on many platforms. We are on X, Instagram, TikTok, Discord, Tumblr. And to be honest, it's very difficult. It's very challenging. Yeah, sometimes we feel a bit low about it. Sometimes we are still excited, but we keep going and we keep producing what we think are high quality videos to present the game, to present different aspects of the game. We also like write devlogs or blogs, depending on how you want to call them, and they are published on Steam, but mainly on our website. And we also like go to different to conventions. So the last convention we went to was a Tokyo Game Show in September. Not to exhibit because of the cost, but it's a good place to make contacts and to build a bit like a community and to be known and to know other people as well in the community. So yeah, marketing on social media, meeting people here and there, and trying our best, and also learning about marketing. So um, I'm in the process of learning through different website that I found, like the best way to market a game. So hopefully it will be very helpful, and we'll see. But I've got a good team working with me, and we do our best. So this is, I think, the main thing anyway.
It's really organic growth at the moment,
Mm.
and certainly if we for future games, and you just mentioned we have three in the pipeline at the moment. We will start earlier, but it's also normal because you can't start so early with the first game if you don't know yet where it will lead you, if
Mm.
you can actually finish developing it and so on. So yeah, under the circumstances, I think it's really nice. We have very good content, to be honest, for marketing, interesting things, but the visibility in the market for indie games is obviously a real problem, especially for true indie games. Yeah, I would say we are really a true indie game studio. We are not supported by publishers. We're not supported by any other company or funding from national governmental funding whatsoever.
Mm.
We're really self-funding this, and that is quite remarkable. And I would say we're a truly indie game developer of
For sure.
family and friends. Yeah, family and friends. We're like a family, and yeah, it's really uh, it's nice. This journey is nice, but it's tough for
Mm.
indie game development studios. It is tough. We just have to persist. We don't know where it will lead us, but what we do, I think I'm very proud of. Yeah, we each of you we have really achieved a lot of things. We all have learned so much. We have stretched ourselves,
Mm.
and we all have done things we've never done before.
It can even be seen in some of, if you go into our YouTube channel, you can see some of our earliest
Mm.
cutscenes that we had in the game, some of our earliest gameplay footage. It was definitely, playable and recognizable as the Kaya mission, but you could tell that we still had a lot of experience to gain at that point. But as
Yes,
time has gone on, we've gone from barely being able to make one cutscene to creating an entire video game with several cutscenes, gameplay elements, levels, mini games. we've come a
Mm.
long way, and sometimes it's hard to recognize that you've been on this path. But so
Yes.
anyone out there who is working on their own game, remember that you've come a long way.
Hmm.
Mm.
You weren't born with the knowledge to do this.
There's a lot of luck involved also.
That too.
If you have visibility at the right time among the right people and the right support from some people who use social media, it can take off quickly, or it can be very small and grow step by step, and it might take a while. Yeah, we must not be discouraged by these things.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, what tools and game engines have you used to create the Kyo mission?
Since the very beginning, we used the Blender 3D modeling tool to create almost entirely all of our assets. It would surprise me if we use something else, to be honest. I believe every single asset in the Kaya mission was created using the Blender 3D modeling tool. And not just the static ones either, the animated ones too. Like they've all been animated within Blender. And
Mm.
then once these assets were created, we placed them within the Unreal 4 engine, where we initially filmed the cutscenes at the beginning, but then we nurtured it into a fully fledged game as time went on. And the vast majority of all the art assets in the Kaya mission, so like the textures for like materials of the 3D objects, or even just like 2D assets for the UI, they were initially all created in GIMP, which is a free image manipulation tool. But later on, we started using Clip Studio Paint, which is a bit more advanced. As for audio, I think Mario can speak
Yeah,
on that.
yeah. We use at some point always we use Audacity really, but we have been using different tools for recording. I've been working a lot on the sound effects and music recordings. So Audacity was always the last point of entry before we then inserted these sounds, for example, like steps, like water you displace when you walk in water, or the sound of the sea, or the waves, or rivers, or birds, or jungle sounds. We have sounds from the rainforest that Julie has recorded in Cameroon. So it's really a good mix of superb inputs from different places of the world that we have used then in the game.
Amazing. And have there been any personal growth or lessons that you've learned through the development of the Kyo mission?
Oh, it's a very good question. And I think during our last meeting, we kind of uh, looked back at 2024 and the journey we've been on. And there were some key words coming out of our discussions. At first, like we are like really a good team working together. And we've learned how to communicate together using different tools like WhatsApp or Discord or Zoom and so on. And we also like we're talking about learning. I think in our field, and we have all learned something. So I'm just going to talk for myself. I'm not coming from marketing, so I'm learning as I go. I'm learning how to make videos. I'm learning how to market a game. I'm learning how to sell a game. So this is what I've been learning about, and I think every one of us will have learned something. But I think like learning is important. You grow when you learn, and if you don't learn, you stay where you are. So it's always important to learn something new and not to be afraid of learning. It might be daunting because you start something new that you don't know anything about, but then yes, you've got hurdles, but you grow, and the more you learn, the more you realize you're capable of, and not to be afraid of failing as well. You learn from your mistakes, you learn from your failures, and you continue to grow.
There are also some situations in the development where you suddenly come across a problem, a massive problem. You don't know where it comes from, and that can be quite demotivating or frustrating.
Mm.
But we have learned to trust that by having a sound approach of isolating the problem, doing analysis of the contributing factors, the possible contributing factors, looking at what the underlying root causes are and addressing them, or deciding in some cases to address the problem at the moment to prevent the symptom from happening, but to later really correct the problem at some point. That has happened a number of times. And when you think everything is fine and suddenly the game is broken or so, and you don't know why, that can really drag you down. But we have always managed to do it, to work systematically on it, and every time we do it, it gives you a great sense of achievement, and you gain confidence because you see that it works. You just have to work together, and you have to be systematic about certain work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Software problems, yeah. And it can be really crazy things like one team member has a new PC with a different frame rate, and all of a sudden you see problems you had not seen before, and the game becomes better and better by doing this. The hope is that we are mature enough when we release that we won't have these stressful moments.
Yeah.
But there's no guarantee. You can't test everything in the game. It's always you have to systematically reduce the risk.
Anyone that creates anything digitally, please make sure to back up your work fairly regularly. Like
Great
it might
point.
be excessive in my case, but I tend to save a version every day, every work day. In this case, I learned this harsh lesson early in development when we were only saving a version every 2 weeks, and we lost a substantial amount of progress one time. I've blocked it out mostly out of out of sadness, but it was a rough lesson to learn, and I've been sure to back it up pretty much every single day.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I would recommend you do the same if you love your project.
Maybe another point which is also very interesting to keep in mind when you develop a game is the continuous integration of it, that you have regular baselines, that you have regular tests of those baselines. That means at any given moment in time, you are very close to having a fully integrated version, even if it's not complete, it's not finished, and so on, but you have something that is fully integrated rather than working for months on end and then in the end having hundreds or thousands of bugs to deal with. And it's very difficult then also to say, when did you introduce these problems?
Mm.
Yeah. Whereas if you regularly do it, you really have much more control over that. So that's really something I would recommend: an agile approach supported by the right tooling and regular baselines that are fully integrated.
What are some common misconceptions about developing an indie game that you've perhaps discovered or heard?
It's not all fun and games, I guess.
I would say it's not as simple as it looks. It's way more complicated and more complex. There are more factors involved than we maybe even thought about. We are quite lucky, like even if we are not funded, we had enough money to develop the game. But obviously, you have some other indie gamers who have issues financially. It takes a long time. It takes longer than you think. Um, we went to a conference. I think it was EGX last year, and they said uh, at um, at a talk that it takes 2 years, exactly 2 years to develop a game. Um, well, if you have a big team, probably, but in a case like of Mario was saying, pure indie gamers, it takes longer. You can be disappointed. You can, be despaired.
But it's very challenging. I remember when I was like trying to I was entering into the project and where like I have to do the localization, the game in the Basta language. I was like, it was really hard because each time I was adding more files on Excel for Mr. Mario. So every time we were doing an upload for the file, and also when we were about to like to release a new version, there was in every second trying to change the conception of the game, change some objects or some menu to look more better, and we were having many issues, and it was really hard. Like you were looking at the diagram, like oh, the thing in progress and the thing that we solved, it was very big, and we were like we have to work hard to.
But it's also nice to, it's fantastic to have contact with so many people who helped us outside. We have 5 people in the development team, but we also have about 15 people we have been partly regularly working with for music, for art, for localization. So we have 15 languages at the moment in the game. So that is really good fun. But it also means you have to be very well organized, especially when you talk about localizations that we did partly during the development still. We will, for the subsequent games, we will follow a different approach where we delay the localization until we have a very stable version. But in the first game, yeah, we tried out different things, and certainly something we learned from it was we have to carefully think about when do we localize in other languages. One thing is also when you develop games, first of all, you have much less time to play other games. And also when you play them, the trouble is you will be thinking of all these different things. You will look at game mechanics, game dynamics, game experience. You will have a very critical eye on different things and learn good things and bad things that you find in other games. So that takes sometimes a little bit the fun out of it. Yeah, you have to really let yourself go sometimes when you play. So you're not looking at it with professional eyes, but rather you allow yourself to be immersed in the game.
And the final question that we have today is how do you stay motivated when working on a long-term project like this?
I think we are surrounded by fantastic people. And that helps. People that we trust, people we can communicate, even when we're not feeling well, that we can communicate well and we can work with. So there's always like a massive support. And I think we are very supportive to one another, very helpful to one another. And also, not only the human factor, but even if we have sometimes problems to solve, we can see that we can solve them as a team, and that helps. And there's always something better coming, and obviously there is a release coming soon. So you tend to forget like all the difficult moment, but thank you to the team and the massive work that everyone has done and has put in the game. I think this is what make the difficult moment be easier.
Also, we regularly we see intermediate outputs. Yeah, we see when we have a new baseline of a game, even of the new games that are under development now. We regularly look at things, and that gives us all a view on where we are, where we have made progress. Lately, Julie has done lots of really nice work on the player of one of the future games. It's motivating, yeah, if you see the progress, if you can share the progress. By having regular baselines of the games, we also it's quite obvious if you look at what are all the issues you have implemented already in the game. You see how it starts showing up. Yeah, you have reports you can look at. All this is showing you that good work is being done and it's coming together.
I remember in the past when I was studying how to do games technology, uh, when you're younger, you sometimes have teammates and even yourself that have a hard time collaborating at all, and you tend to like do things individually, and then suddenly the deadline shows up, and everyone has to
Mm.
like, oh no, I need to make a
Yeah.
game within 12 hours, and that's obviously not very feasible in the real world. So it's very good to make a steady progress and to check in on one another, um,
Yeah.
so that like you don't truly feel like lost or insane sometimes. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, as Mario mentioned, there's a lot of tools that help with that, like a lot of ways to compile issues and tasks. Um, and if we're talking, I guess, on a emotional sense, a good way to stay motivated is to see all these beautiful games that are out there right now in the world. Like so many games that we've played, like
Mm.
like, together or individually, ranging from like Hollow Knight or Spyro or A Thousand Times Resist. Like there's a lot of beautiful games out there,
Mm.
and of course you could be filled with envy, but I think it's more productive and more healthy to see like the beauty that like what humans can even create and produce
Mm.
and
Mm.
say, cool, let us try it.
Yes,
Mm.
it's very
Yes.
inspiring when you meet other indie game developers also, and when you exchange your experience with them. Very inspiring. And I I've never had really the feeling ever with talking with other indie game developers that it's like competition. It's not competition. It's more like a community.
Mm.
Mm.
We all
Mm.
try to put something really lovely together, something really filled with important messages, with love, um, and we're all in the same struggle together. The important thing is later people will make choices whether they like this game or that game better, but it's not a feeling of competition, I must say. Like you can see with the big companies, yeah, that really compete
Yeah.
for sales figures that have millions of dollars in advertisement budgets and so on. So in the community itself is very supportive, I would
Mm.
say. And we are in contact with quite a number of other studios in Africa or also in Asia or in different places of the world. And we do mutual play testing, or we help each other with localization also. It's nice. It's a community.
Well, thank you all so much for coming along and listening to our live stream. And thank you to the game development team, of course, for all your lovely comments and replies to questions.
Mm.
Just a reminder that the Kaya mission is coming out on the 29th of January 2025. So please do wishlist us on Steam in the meantime. And you can follow us, as Virginie was saying earlier, on our social media, ranging from Instagram, X, TikTok, Tumblr, and so on. And if
Yeah.
you have any other kind of bits of feedback regarding the live stream or anything we're doing, including the game itself, we would love to hear it. Do get in touch. We're very happy to have a chat. Thank you,
Mm.
everyone.
I just wanted to quickly say if you truly cannot wait until the release date on the 29th of January, feel free to download the demo on itch.io or Steam.
Great
Good
point.
point. Yes.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Gwen. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you all. Take care.
Have a good
Take
evening.
care.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye.